No, don't panic, guys. I haven't really passed out. I only showed you that eye to talk about an even more famous eye. Today, we're going to be talking about the London Eye. The London Eye, look at it, so beautiful, so majestic, it's awesome. A beautiful feat of engineering, there's no doubts about it. But where is the London Eye? Well, it's on the South Bank in London, in the borough of Lambeth. Now it's almost, not quite, but almost opposite Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. Now the London Eye, or the Millennium Wheel, is 135 feet tall. Ooh. It has a diameter of 120 meters. And how much does it weigh? It weighs a lot more than your donuts, I tell you that. It weighs 2,100 tons. That's heavy. As the name would suggest, it was opened in the year 2000. And at that time, it was the biggest Ferris wheel in the entire world. Bigger than that one, bigger than this one, bigger than that one, and even bigger than this one. And that's a big one. Now, how much did it cost? You're probably wondering. Well, if you've got any spare change, I guarantee you it's going to be a lot more than what you've got in your purse. It cost £70 million to make. Now have a closer look at the wheel itself. You can see here that it is supported by an A-frame on one side. The eye is described by its operators as the world's tallest cantilever observation wheel. And you try and say that 3 times. Cantilever observation wheel. Now, just in case you don't know what the London Eye is, how big it is, how wide it is, how much it weighs and stuff like that as well, well, you're in a perfect place because I'm going to tell you that right now. Look at this beautiful structure, so amazing. The structure is 135 meters tall with a diameter of 120 meters. That is huge. It weighs over 2,100 tons. Talk about heavy. It was opened in the year 2000, not surprisingly, of course. And of course, that is why it's called the Millennium Wheel. Now check this out, guys. It is known as the first cantilever wheel. We'll explain that one, don't you worry. But how much does it cost, you're probably wondering? Well, if you look in your wallet, you're going to have a few bits and pieces, a few coins here and there, but I guarantee you it's going to cost a lot more than that. It cost a whopping £70 million. Now, the original design was submitted in 1993 as part of a competition, which is a good lesson for us because if you enter a competition, you never know, you might be the winner. Who knows what will happen? But it took about 7 years for them to figure out how they're going to make this thing because it is a fantastic feat of engineering. Just look at that. But finally, in the year 2000, it was put up and we now have this beautiful, beautiful wheel. It is Europe's largest wheel and London's most popular attraction. It attracts 3 million visitors per year. Wow, and I know that I was one of those at one point because I went to see it a good while ago as well. Have you? Now the names David Marks and Julia Barnfield is not going to mean a lot to you until I tell you that they were the ones that won that competition that finally had it designed. Of course, it took a team of engineers to make sure they could put it together and make sure that every little part of it would work according to plan. But did you know it wasn't London's first big wheel? In 1895, as part of the Exhibition of India, they constructed a wheel that was huge at the time and it was very, very popular. Check it out. In fact, that wheel attracted 2.5 million visitors, but unfortunately, due to other events, it was destroyed in 1906. So, bye-bye, big wheel, bye-bye. It wouldn't be for another 100 years or so until plans for another one was underfoot. Now, it may be called the Millennium Wheel, but it was actually late for its own birthday. What does that mean? Well, check this out. Now, it's hardly surprising that an engineering feat of this size is going to take a while. So even though it was meant to be opened up on 1999/2000, because it took so long to put together, it actually missed the date. In fact, it wasn't until March 2000 that people were allowed to board and go along the ride on the London Eye. Well, other names given to it were the Merlin Entertainment London Eye, the EDF Energy London Eye, although that's not exactly accurate. They never really stuck to one name, and that is why they just settled on Millennium Eye. But since 2015, it has been officially called the Millennium Wheel Coca-Cola Eye. Feeling a bit thirsty? Now, if you have seen pictures of the London Eye, you can't help but have noticed those pods that go around it. But did you know that there are 32 pods there? Each pod represents a different borough in London. That is about 800 people or 11 full double-decker London buses. Check it. Now, this is going to be an interesting fact. Even though there are 32 eyes there, it's only numbered as 33. Why is that? Well, you see, the people that put it together were quite suspicious. And even though they count all the amount, they actually leave out number 13, which is very superstitious. Some people believe that number 13 is unlucky. So the wheel will go from 11, 12, 14 and onwards. Oh. Now, even though there isn't a 13th capsule, as you can see here, look at this beautiful posh layout of the capsule. Well, that is because this was named in commemoration of the Queen. That's right, that's correct. It was called the Coronation Capsule. So not only did Big Ben get its name from her, but one of the capsules of the London Eye also got a name from her as well. In fact, the London Eye is so popular, it gets more visits than this place, the Taj Mahal, which is a pretty nice place as well. It gets more visits than this place, the Pyramids of Giza. How amazing is that? I mean, I want to go see the pyramids. I think I'm definitely going to go sometime, inshallah. Now you can imagine something of this size is going to take a bit of work to sort out. In fact, it was transported piece by piece along barges along the River Thames. It took a while, but they got there in the end, and I think they did a fantastic job. In fact, the engineering skills that they used to construct it is the same skills they used to construct one of these. That's right, an oil rig in the North Sea. Without the water. Well, with the water, but not in the same way. Now, even though the London Eye is a beautifully iconic structure that everybody around the world knows about, it was not meant to be permanent. It was only meant to be temporary. The story of that comes up next. The London Eye was never meant to be permanent. It was only meant to be there for a short period of time. But because people loved it so much, there was a massive uproar when they heard plans that they were going to tear it all down. So in 2002, they decided to make it a permanent feature of the London skyline. Now, if you're about to propose to your loved one, you might want to think about doing it on the London Eye. The London Eye has hosted over 500 proposals and 5,000 weddings. Yeah, they look happy. They look like they're having a good time. The London Eye. It's beautiful, so majestic. And part of that majestic nature of it is that it goes very, very slowly. I mean, look at this. Look how slow it's going. In fact, it goes so slow that it doesn't have to stop for you to get on and off. Watch. You can still get on it and it doesn't have to stop. How amazing is that? So there you go, guys. We've seen the world and we've seen the London Eye. Stay tuned for more of our Let's See the World. You take care.